So give me a little bit of background about how Garda is broken down in terms of, so that's a national police force. So for the
Mm.
audience, in the United States, we have sheriff's departments, we have police departments, but you guys basically cover the whole country. And you also don't have things like DEA, FBI. You guys cover it all.
Yeah.
So give me a kind of a flavor of how you guys work.
Okay. So when you go into the guards, you go in as a uniform Garda, and you do 2 years as a uniform Garda, um, performing all sorts of duties, going to calls and on the beat, and just developing and honing your skills. And then you're eligible to go forward for what we call specialized units. So you could have the Garda fraud unit, you could have the Garda drugs unit, you could go into community policing, you could maybe make a career from in the station and do your exam and qualify as a sergeant, because the rank structure are Garda to sergeant to inspector to superintendent to chief superintendent, and then assistant commissioner, deputy commissioner, and commissioner, and that's the rank structure. In tandem with that, then you can be appointed as a detective Garda while you're serving Garda. You then go for promotion, you're a sergeant, and you have to do your 2 years as a sergeant, and then you're eligible to go for detective sergeant. At that stage, then you can do your 2 years, and maybe not 2 years, but thereabouts, but it usually takes a bit longer to do your inspector's exam. Then you qualify for inspector's exam, you do the exam, and you go forward for promotion. And if you're lucky, you become an inspector. And again, the same procedure. You have to do a year before you are appointed. If you go for it's a separate appointment as a detective inspector. And from that, then it's the same ordeal for the superintendents. Again, it's a written exam, then it's a series of interviews, but you can be appointed to detective superintendent from the inspector rank. And the same then for chief, again, is exam based and then interview based. And the assistant commissioner then is a series of interviews.
So before I get into detectives, for patrol, I'm just going to call it patrol. But for patrol officers or patrol Garda, what's the highest rank you can go to? Is it sergeant?
Well, yes, I suppose for patrols and not the sergeant, the inspectors generally are they're in charge of the teams, whether teams of Gardaí, whether sergeants, whether teams of community police, teams of um, local crime task force, just teams, the order units and that. Yeah, so the inspectors, while they do go on patrol to make sure that the patrols are being carried and to do and supervision duties and all the rest, I suppose yes, there's a lot of superintendents who would resent the fact that you don't go on patrol as superintendent if I say that, but because I know some of them do like to get out and about, but it's maybe they just don't have the time because most of it is office of administration and it's people sort of work that you have to do at that level.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's a cutoff on patrols, um, but if there was to be one, I would say it would stop at inspector. Yeah.
Okay. So for the Garda in general, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but in general, is the goal to become a detective, or do some people just go, "Hey, I'm happy with what I'm doing, just policing, out in the field"?
Yeah. I know just before I left, I interviewed 100, exactly 100 people who wanted to be appointed as detectives. And they came from all walks of on Garda Síochána, whether it was traffic or community policing or drug units or crime task force units or whatever. And there were times when I just felt like proverbially putting my arm around the shoulder and say, look, it's not for you. So the desire to become a detective, what informed that? Was it I want to get off the tree relief, or was it because I want to be a detective, or was it because for whatever reason? I won't say that everybody that joins the Guards wants to become a detective. There's a path, and that's the good thing about the Garda Síochána. There is a pathway for people to branch off on, whether it is community policing. And I suppose the one thing I would say before saying much more is that at the heart of the Garda Síochána is community policing, and we all of the guards are essentially community police, because you are interacting with the public and you should be putting the best foot forward, irregardless. So there would be a lot of my former colleagues who would look at me and say, "Oh, I didn't want to become. I wasn't all about becoming a detective for me." So I'm saying there's room for a lot of, like, some people want to go into the traffic unit. I would never have been a suitable candidate for the traffic unit. So when I say you honed your skills in the first 2 or 3 years, you had to look at what was going on around you, and you were taking it all in. And I suppose after 2 or 3 years, and certainly 4 or 5 years, you certainly could look at what was happening around you, and you could make a choice. So I think I would actually shine in that area. I think I could develop my skills in that area. I think I would be interested in becoming a detective. I think I would become interested in becoming a traffic guard. I think I would be interested in becoming a community police guard. So I mean, I will concede that I think a lot of young people want to become detectives.